Whoa, baby, things are really heating up as we get into the playoffs, and typically the market is pretty quiet over Christmas, but this year it was really active for certain players. So we're going to look at the top 10 guys going up and the volume, the major takeaways, parlaying that with football cards on eBay. Let's dig in. Focusing on sold transactions from eBay, the 49ers continue to be the hottest team in football, pulling off a 37-20 victory, this time over the Washington Commanders. 49ers now moved to 11-4 on the season, have won 8 straight games. George Kittle has been absolutely dominant recently. And you know what they say about a rookie quarterback? His best friend is the tight end. And Brock Purdy, who came into the season as Mr. Irrelevant, the last player taken in the 2022 NFL Draft, continues to be the number 1 player going up right now in football cards. The equivalent of this card would be like a college uniform card of Patrick Mahomes, selling for about the same raw. These prestige base rookie cards coming out of Chronicle with the college uniform, the college team logo, but it's got that rookie card shield in the bottom left. They sell like absolute hotcakes on eBay right now for between $30 to $40. If you look at something like this base card from Donruss Elite, this goes for about $75 to $100. Here's one numbered out of 275 blue that went for $200. And if you find something autographed from one of the limited sets that he's in right now, like this Panini Black numbered out of 199, that's going for $635 in auction today, Monday, December 26. All right, we got to do a quick defensive spotlight in this game because Nick Bosa continues to further his case for Defensive Player of the Year because he generated 9 pressures from 26 pass rushing snaps with a couple of sacks and a forced fumble as well. He had a 33.3% pass rush win rate on the day. Check out some of the sold transactions that Nick Bosa has had over the today and yesterday. You can see the uptick in buy it now sold volume from today. That's how you know he's getting quite a bit of hype here in the market. For a defensive player, this guy is near the top, comparable with that of Micah Parsons. Check out this 2020. This is not even a rookie card of his, but it is a snakeskin SSP here. Kind of color match the 49ers, going for close to 100 without pulling it up over at 130 point. Or you could look at some of the autographed Beckett stuff or even college uniform stuff from Leaf that does have that Beckett 10 there, which is pretty impressive, 43 out of 50 there. Check out this red select numbered out of 99, going for $45 in auction on Christmas with 16 bids. Or just an optic hollow going for $27. That is very impressive. That's up there with some of the elite skill position offensive players from 2019. The number 2 player going up right now, though, is Trevor Lawrence. And a battle between 2 AFC teams, between the number 1 overall draft pick from 2021 and the number 2, Trevor Lawrence comes victorious. In fact, Zach Wilson was benched in this game halfway through for Chris Streveler, who we'll talk about in just a second. He's an undrafted guy out of 2018 from a small school, but they were chanting his name literally to get him in the game. And here we've got the sold transaction for Trevor Lawrence pulled up because he continues his dominance, man. Played very good in this game overall. 20 for 31, 229 yards. No touchdowns, but also no big errors. No interceptions, only took 1 sack. It was an overall quarterback rating of 86.6. He was able to get going on the ground with his legs, though, and showed why he has some pretty elite mobility, carrying the ball 7 times for 51 yards, including a touchdown. So I've actually noticed about a 50% increase in the values of his rookie ticket autos. Now up to about $700 in some base cases, $750 for the optic. Going through the sold transaction the past couple days, you can see some of the rookie ticket autos getting up there. And he's been one of those guys that's fluctuated quite a bit throughout the season. Coming into the season really hyped up with new head coach and new weapons and new players in the trenches. But if you go to the beginning of December and look at what those rookie ticket autos for Trevor Lawrence are selling for, here's one for $415 on December 9th. Here's one December 1st that ended for $371. Another one that ended $355 with the variation. So you can see where those kind of hit the bottom there at the beginning of December. And man, he has been on an upward trajectory. Now looks like they may sneak into the playoffs out of the AFC South, may grab a wildcard spot, or even potentially still win that division. So yeah, he is right now our number 2 player going up. If we look at his graded card market, and we just pop over to our Keep 'em Football card web app here that tracks all graded football cards through eBay, you can see an 18.5% increase in the base Donruss PSA 10 of Trevor Lawrence. His Prism PSA 10 is incredibly rare. It's really hard to get a PSA 10 on. The gem rate is super low. And this is just looking at the most sold graded football cards in PSA 10 condition over the past 30 days. See, PSA 10 30-day total sales. Trevor Lawrence is leading the way on that. Out of all these guys, the Burrow, the Josh Allen, the Bakers right there because of what he's been doing recently. Then you have the Jalen Hurts, the Burrow again, the Herbert, the Josh Allen, score, college uniform. This is a perfect combination of a fairly healthy supply, fairly low price point, and PSA 10 grade. You can see the 18.5% increase. If we were to actually look at Trevor Lawrence's overall market, you can see the uptick. Look at the base optic, up 41.6% to a new trend of $101. Same thing with the portrait Donruss and some different mosaic cards that people find very popular. You can see a 9.69% increase in the optic downtown laser, very popular card there as well. So a lot of stuff popping off for Trevor Lawrence right now. A lot of stuff trending up. Select field level silver, new trend, up 128%. It's going to have a very low pop. I could go ahead and tell you that right now. But check out the buy it now difference between December 18th and December 20th. Both of these are going to be legitimate transactions. It's just the card only has a pop of 37. So at any given time, this could be an eBay 1 of 1. And field level silver is still a very popular card, especially coming from 2021, where they lowered the print run of field level silver by moving it back to being a hobby only card. So previous trend on this card was $391, end of November, $400, then $425, then $550 December 18th. Now December 20th, $1322. That's the 1.1 draft capital from a year ago, plus potential playoff probability. His guy has been trending up big time over the past couple weeks. Hey, now real quick, if you're new here, welcome to the Football Card Quest. My name is Andy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to unlock the entire football card experience, including accessing that web app that you just saw me use to dive into the values of Trevor Lawrence, plus all other players' graded football card sales through eBay, check it out in the description below, patreon.com/footballcards. It unlocks the entire football card experience. We've got a Discord server, monthly giveaways, backstage written content, the whole 9 yards, a lot of extra goodies over there. So go check it out. Now back to the action. The wild man, Chris Streveler, as you can see here, undrafted from 2018, almost 28 years old. Therefore, Panini didn't actually print him in a rookie card until 2020. You can see he's only got 71 different rookie cards using tradingcarddatabase.com's tool here. And once again, the main rookie card for him is going to be something like Elite or Contenders rookie ticket auto. So you can definitely see there have been an elevated amount of sales, including buy it now for the Elite turn of the century 45 or rookie ticket autos going for about 50, but we don't have clarity yet if the Jets are actually going to make the playoffs or if this is going to be their quarterback one going forward. But we know the fan base was definitely rooting for him big time. You can see the elevated amount of transactions popping off December 24th when the game was actually taking place, leading some pretty serious hyper relevancy for Chris Streveler there on a Thursday evening. Fast forward to Christmas Eve, you had a shootout develop between the Panthers and the Lions in Carolina, leading to one of the first Lions losses in the past 6 weeks. You had a monster game, though, from Shane Zylstra. You still had a great game from Jared Goff, including a 110 quarterback rating. He throws for 3 touchdowns. Just another quick little research here. Shane Zylstra, 17 total rookie cards from 2020, and you can see here it's really just Sage products. So, if you are wanting to get something Sage related, then it's got to be autographed. Now, other thing you could look at is the Panini Instant. And Steve and I looked at this last week on our weekly live stream. Definitely want to subscribe and tune in for that. Where we do stuff like we looked at the fact that the print run on these cards are printed 1 out of whatever it is, 162, and they're all going to be like that, printed with a print run. Those are pretty relevant. They can get pretty popular for certain guys. Shane's got a few Sage products with the rookie autograph that are selling for a few dollars. They're not going to get too high, though. Ultimately, this was a bloodbath for the Lions on the ground, where the Panthers just had whatever they wanted on the ground with D'Onta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Foreman finished with 165 yards on 21 carries with 6 broken tackles, while Hubbard racked up 126 yards on only 12 carries with 3 broken tackles. This led to the Panthers offense scoring on 7 out of 10 possessions in their most impressive offensive performance of the season. Their hopes are still alive. We're going to talk about the NFC South before the end of this video, but you can see there's definitely some hype, some demand for D'Onta Foreman. He is a guy that definitely garners some demand in the hobby. You can see this 2021 Donruss Optic Chuba Hubbard bronze auto here, non-serial number that sold for $20 on Christmas, or his base rookie ticket auto, on-card auto, sold for $15 in auction on Christmas. So definitely some demand, but very cheap right now for him. Number 3, I'm going to be talking about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills going up. They are now 12-3. And it was tough going for a little while. Extremely frigid temperatures in Chicago, but the Buffalo Bills pulled away late and secured a 35-13 win over the Chicago Bears. And the running backs had big games in these frigid conditions. Devin Singletary rushed for 106 yards on 12 carries, while James Cook racked up 99 on 11 attempts. Just 65 of those 205 combined yards came after contact. But Josh Allen is still the captain of the ship. He's still one of the most hyped guys coming into the season. And even though he threw 2 interceptions and averaged a quarterback rating of 71.3, the Bills are going to be favorites to make a deep playoff run. You can see that some of his cards get quite pricey. Like the red, white, and blue Prism PSA 10 up 25% to a trend of $1,600. Or like his base Panini Canvas card here that's up to a trend of $230, up 26% over the average. Or his Donruss Optic Aqua, which if you actually look at this card has a very low population of just 44. And this card is actually up in a buy it now format. This is what's important to note here, from December 2nd, December 7th, 2600 to 3250. Very rare card at any given time. Could be a eBay 1 of 1. If we look at the total sales, not much change in the base Donruss rated rookie. A lot of people have noticed that he's become somewhat of a game manager and just really trying to stay within his bounds and help the team get these wins coming down the stretch. So we'll see if he's forced into situations where he's got to put the team on his shoulders a little bit more in the playoffs. But his values are so strong and the sold volume is so high on him any given day. You can see just looking at like overall market and the players and the demand. Josh Allen is right there on the top list at 3 out of 4. And then again at number 8 on this list in terms of most graded cards sold in the past 30 days. So we definitely got a spotlight like we talked about on James Cook from the rushing performance on Saturday. You can see the 2022 Bowman U sticker auto here with that first logo in the top right, selling for $21.50. Buy it now. That's a good indication of people pursuing his cards. Definitely got some national treasures. There's a pen pal getting 12 bids, going up to $30. Fairly respectable amount. Origins 24 out of 25. One could argue that if anything were to happen to Singletary, James Cook it would have a much bigger role and could garner a much higher value because he could potentially execute and have a pretty big performance here in the playoffs. So yet to be seen, but you can definitely see the buy it now demand for his cards. Like there is definitely elevated demand with him being a rookie, Dalvin Cook's little brother, plus on a very highly ranked team in the NFL right now. It's worth noting that the Saints beat the Browns 17-10, and I know Browns fans are not happy with the performance of Deshaun Watson. It's also interesting to note that this another undrafted guy out of this year's draft class has been stepping up for the Saints, playing pretty well out of Weber State, 24 years old, undrafted. Rashid Shaheed, if you go and pull him up, he's literally got only 15 rookie cards, has a big game in this game against the Browns. Some Sage cards is really all he's got, Sage autographs. So once again, another example of lack of supply. But the Saints are 6-9. They're only one game behind the Buccaneers, just like the Panthers, nipping at their heels. Number 4 player going up. I think we're on number 4 here. We're winging it a little bit today, guys, after the Christmas holiday yesterday. Still kind of on vacation, so make sure you hit that like button if you guys are enjoying this video. But number 4 is Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City Chiefs beating the Seahawks at home here, 24-10. It's a very efficient win over the Seahawks. They keep pace with the Buffalo Bills at 12-3 on the year so far. So tied for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for another. So tight end Travis Kelce racked up 113 receiving yards in the win. Nobody really shocked there, but this is an example of where I compare this to the Brock Purdy Prestige that we saw earlier, and you can see how they're pretty much neck and neck in value. So that's the kind of hype that Brock Purdy has right now. Mahomes went 5 for 12 on throws beyond the sticks, and whoa, a lot of that kind of stuff is selling for Patrick Mahomes on a daily basis because of how hyped he's been for the past several years. Mahomes also suffered a couple drops from his receivers in this game. He only rushed the ball twice, but that included that 3-yard score that extended the Chiefs' lead to 24-3 in the fourth quarter. Check out Mahomes' graded card market and which cards are trending up the most. It's some interesting oddball cards, and I think that's just because, you know, people have a budget in mind and they're trying to get in on the Mahomes market, and it can be quite tricky. So there are a lot of oddball cards that you will see sell for some pretty respectable amounts for Patrick Mahomes, like this Game Day Texas Tech ticket here, PSA 10, selling for $300, or this Crown Royal PSA 10, selling for $675, up 32%. Only a population of 277, 569.9, so it's hard to get a 10 on this card. But you can see someone in a buy it now on December 18th bought this for $675 over an auction that ended 3 days prior for $431. Great little flip there. And of course, anytime you talk about Patrick Mahomes, you got to talk about the best tight end in the NFL, hands down. That's Travis Kelce, 6 for 113 yards, including 18.8 yards per reception and a long reception of 52 yards. He's got some pretty iconic 2013 rookie cards, massive rookie card logos, sticker autos there. You see that selling for a couple $100 raw. This iconic card from Topps, you have the Topps Chrome and then all those short print variations thereof. And Travis Kelce, for a skill position player, especially being as old as he is, has some pretty expensive cards. Base raw Prism card from 2013 sells for $45. Incredibly impressive transaction there. If you look at his graded card market, which ones are trading up the most, you just get a lot of volume behind this base Topps. It's such an iconic look. This one is actually the mini, so I actually clicked into the mini. It only has a pop of 32, but 2 sales in the past month, steady around $115. It's pretty impressive because most people stray away from the mini, to be honest with you. Here's the Panini Select. So this is the first year that Panini manufactured Select in the modern sports card market. Look at that $100 increase there from December 4th to December 25th. And not the same serial number, so not the same exact card sold, but theoretically, very nice flip there, $100 increase in the margin of that card. Plus, you have only a pop of 22 on that card, so I would argue you actually have a lot more upside in that card. Person could have held on to that for longer. If we look at the total sales, like which cards have been selling the most, some cards just kind of down a little bit, but I would argue that this is just a standard market fluctuation, right? If we were to look at the Topps Chrome here over the past month, but then like move it out to 2 months and go like October 29th, I would argue that this card is typically bouncing up and back and forth between, you know, anywhere as low as $70 to about $150-ish, the average of $115. 99 sales in the past 6 months, 17 sales in the past month. But this is the reason why this card ends for $107.50. We're gonna look at a little difference here and why it's advantageous to sell and to buy it now. So $107.50, $108.50. These are Tuesday, December 20th at midnight, 11:24 p.m. Tuesday night when no football is going down. But let's look at when the buy it nows and the highest sold transaction. Friday afternoon, December 16th at 4:50 p.m. Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Monday night is a big auction, big time to buy. Or what about Sunday, 9:49 a.m.? All those transactions were, you know, a good 30% higher than what those auctions ended for, which is why you want to sell that card in a buy it now over an auction. Another popular card is this 2013 Score here. But I mean, that's a very healthy sold price there, an average of $150, $160. I would actually say that this Prism may have room to go up at pop of $342. Okay, here we have a buy it now Tuesday, December 20th, $275. Big difference over that auction that ended Monday at midnight 30 for $142. So just another reason why buy it now, again selling for much higher than the auctions on a player like Travis Kelce, who's a future Hall of Famer, just not like super young rookie that drives a lot of FOMO or fear of missing out that way. He just drives a lot of, like, you know, people getting really serious about making a bigger investment, a longer term play. I mean, Travis Kelce is probably going to go down as one of, if not the best tight ends of all time when everything is said and done. All right, real quick, shout out to the Sports Card Shop Live. Check out their link in the description below where you can shop for singles, do box breaks, original content, all from a live format on your phone or your web app. It's wonderful, dude. They have an original platform and it's a lot of fun. You can get a $10 credit right now by signing up with our link in the description below and take it for a test drive. And that'll also get you entered into a giveaway coming up in February of this upcoming year for a 2022 Donruss Hobby Box. So check it out and let me know in the comment section below what you think of the Card Shop Live. Back to the action. Number 5, I think we're on number 5 now, is Justin Jefferson. This game between the Vikings and the Giants had plenty of playoff implications. The Vikings ended up defeating the Giants by a score of 27-24. This game brings the Vikings to a season record of 12-3. The Giants have now fallen to 8-6-1. And the nod in this game for offensive player of the game goes to Kirk Cousins, who finished with a stat line of 34 for 48 with 299 passing yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. Both TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson had more than 100 yards through the air on the end of Cousins' passes. Where does the highest sold graded card for Kirk Cousins rank in the sea of Justin Jefferson supply from 2020? It's going to be pretty far down the list in terms of total graded cards sold on a monthly basis. We finally get to the Kirk Cousins here, Topps Chrome. People still not really buying into the Kirk Cousins hype fully. Just one of those guys that's going to fluctuate a lot. First of all, there's only a pop of 123 on his Topps Chrome. It's going back to 2012. And he's a guy that is notoriously flamed out in primetime situations, playoffs, and so people aren't going to really buy into that until they get that playoff success. And so you can see that this card did have a little dip here after coming out the first week one pretty hot. They had a loss or two in there in September, but this card is back up. I'd say just this card being at $90, $100, obviously, as you can see, is much higher than what he came into the season at, you know, so there's already been a lot of growth there. It is going to kind of fluctuate around that price point, especially in difference between auction and buy it now. Buy it now is Tuesday, November 29th for $125, $120. Auctions selling for, $30, $40 less. But the man of the hour is, in fact, Justin Jefferson, because he's got the youth, he's got the Hall of Fame trajectory already, he's got the popularity on and off the field, and he is at the peak of his position in terms of being a wide receiver that is just so dominant in the NFL. So his base Donruss PSA 10 up 16%. His base Prism now up to a trend of almost $130. If I actually do a PSA 10 compare on his Prism between CeeDee Lamb, who had a monster game this past week, Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins, who had a monster game this past week, and Gabe Davis, who is on the Buffalo Bills. Every once in a while he has a big game, right? Justin Jefferson is just absolutely pulled away. You can see there was some closeness there coming into the season, like right around September 9th. You can see there was some closeness there between Gabe Davis. Look how hot Gabe Davis was coming into the season. With Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, who is going the #1 overall fantasy draft pick coming into the season. And since then, there's been a lot of movement. Justin Jefferson has really taken off after an initial spike and then a dip, and then just been ascending ever since. You can see that CeeDee Lamb has, with the green line, right? CeeDee Lamb has really struggled to really gain a ton of momentum. He has some big games. You could argue that this win over the Eagles yesterday was maybe what will spark the ascension now from him and Dak. And so we're going to look at Dak's prices here in a little bit. Jonathan Taylor's season is just absolutely done at this point. And his values have fallen all the way down here to $24.50 for his Prism PSA 10. T. Higgins is right there, but he kind of lives in the shadow of Jamar Chase. And so he's a guy that I continually advocate to kind of invest in. His values stay relatively flat, but if you look at his more rare cards, they're pretty expensive, and they've gone up a lot. They get a lot of demand. And then Gabe Davis, doesn't have a very high pop at all in that card, only 91 compared to the other guys. But he's down there in that bottom tier with these guys. Just such a big difference to illustrate. Look at some of the transactions that just happened today, including like this Fireburst PSA 9 for $40. Buy it now. Just a ton, like hundreds of sold. Black Prism Silver Auto here, selling for a couple hundred. Go pull up that actual sold price on 130point.com. Quick reminder there for you guys. TJ Hawkinson, gotta shout him out. I mean, he had a monster game. 2019 rookie, getting a fresh start here in Minnesota. And his cards are still pretty cheap, but you have seen an elevated demand and sold volume. So some of his rookie cards, especially autograph stuff, are going to fall into the kind of like that sweet spot. And I am seeing quite a few transactions. Man, some of his more base autograph rookie stuff is still very cheap. This is going back to December 20th, so before the big game this past weekend, but $12.46, insanely cheap for T-Hawk there on a definite playoff team that could make a solid run. There's a nice transaction there on a nice zebra Bengal stripe print. TJ Hawkinson graded card mark. You actually see a little increase in Dragon Scale PSA 10 and Red Prism 9 out of 99, serial numbered out of 99, Optic rated rookie up to 60. Still pretty cheap. 115, still pretty cheap for a PSA 10 rookie ticket auto, but he is a skill position player. Hasn't really had the big ascension yet in his career, even though his athletic profile is very similar to that of Travis Kelce. He could get his career on that kind of track. But Joe Burrow, man, he's going to be our number 6. We could actually probably have bumped Joe Burrow up here, but another massive win here. This was a big marquee game against the Patriots. Joe Burrow, look at this orange disco rookie from 2020. $150 raw, guys. Joe Burrow's market absolutely hot. The Bengals are now 11-4. Joe Burrow finished his game with almost 100 quarterback rating. He did throw 2 picks, but he threw 3 touchdowns, and he threw the ball 52 times. So just throwing the ball a ton in this game. T. Higgins goes 8 for 128, 16 yards per reception with a touchdown. Trenton Irwin, who's stepping up for Tyler Boyd injury when T. Higgins was injured. This Trenton Irwin has stepped up. He got 2 touchdowns in this game. Jamar Chase has a pretty small stat line of 8 receptions for 79 yards, but some of those were critical. And we got to look past the one fumble that he did lose. But the Joe Burrow market right now, insanely hot. Look at all the sold volume. That notable that if we just look at the total sales and look at the most commonly sold graded cards for Joe Burrow of the past 30 days, led by the Prism, the base Donruss PSA 10 here, $190 trend. So we do the same Prism PSA 10 compare, but for the quarterbacks here from 2020, you can see that Joe Burrow with the green line is now taking away, is just taken off from Herbert and Hurts. So Herbert is the blue line, Hurts is the purple line. If we look here, Herbert the blue line, Hurts is the purple line, Tua the pink line, who absolutely self-destructed yesterday on Christmas against the Packers, and then Jordan Love, who is still firmly now a backup. Rodgers may sneak into the playoffs here. I don't think that he's going to get any playing time after all. With the Green Bay Packers playoff hopes still alive, they go into Miami, and Tua just absolutely self-destructs in the second half, throwing 3 picks. Just bad decisions, bad reads. Tua's, you can see, kind of spiked just slightly going into that game, but only up to $100. You know, his peak for the season was closer to 150, 130. He was trying to, you know, his cards were trying to bounce back, but getting up to 100. But after this game, they go down to 70. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a dip as low as the Jordan Love values on Tua now. But you can see the Burrow, man, 220. New trend December 26th. That's a massive increase here, guys. Massive increase. Pulling away from the pack, man, over Herbert and Hurts. Gardner Minshew balled out in the Hurts stead. So I pulled up the T. Higgins sold cards. You can see, like, look at, I mean, out of 49, Prism, Plain Patch, Sticker Auto, Purple Power here, but selling for about over $100, or like the Obsidian out of 150 for $60. I mean, T. Higgins, look at this transaction on Christmas. The flawless on-card auto here with the gold out of 25. I mean, beautiful card, but a couple $100. That's a very impressive sold transaction for a skill position player who's especially like the 1B wide receiver on his team. But he does have these 1A type games, and this was a great example. And this is why I love like taking stabs on T. Higgins rookie autos. $40 on the base rookie ticket auto there. Very respectable. Probably about double what a lot of other guys are currently at from 2020. PSA 10, Pop 19, 150 there. Pretty respectable transaction. Got to shout out a couple guys on the quest here. Shout out to Chad, man, making a big flip. Check this out. He bought this Pen Pals Malik Willis and did not wait for the action to unfold over the weekend, man. No. Malik Willis is not ready for the NFL, but he capitalized on the hype of him starting on a potential playoff team, and there's a good look at the Pen Pals right there. Ends up selling it for $84.98. So over triple up on that Malik Willis Purple Ink Pen Pals on-card auto. Shout out to you, Chad. Congrats on that, and wonderful flip there. So shout out to James88, also in our Discord server. He actually bought this card as part of my Auction Sniper article I wrote up. This was about a month ago now. I wrote up AJ Dillon. Several reasons. I go very, very in-depth on these weekly Auction Sniper articles, written content. It's about a 12 to 15 minute read, but I present several listings that you can actually buy into. Like, I present actual listings that are ending soon, the time I write the article, to show you where my thought process is at, and including an explanation, the whole 9 yards. He actually bought this card directly from the article, went to eBay, you know, bought the card from eBay. All I'm doing is sharing research, and ended up flipping this card from November 26th to relisting it in beautiful photograph there, great lighting, sells it for $175 or best offer just this past weekend. Shout out to you, James. Incredible, great flip there, man. I love to see it. That's why I do what I do. Absolutely love to see this, man. Great flip. Jahan Dotson was a notable rookie performance. Carson Wentz stepping in this game, and he's got some connection with Jahan Dotson here, man. Jahan Dotson is a rookie on a team that is may make a wild card. Never know. May make a wild card, but he put together one of the best performances of his rookie season. He is a first-round guy from Penn State. He has a 90 grade, PFF grade on first review, which could be a career high for him. He caught 6 of his 9 targets for 76 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys narrowly beat the Eagles in what turned into an absolute shootout here, guys. Cowboys narrowly beat them 40-34. Gardner Minshew absolutely balled out. We knew he would. CeeDee Lamb has a monster game with the Cowboys. He was just simply unguardable against the Eagles. He caught 10 of his 11 targets for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns with an absurd 151.7 passer rating when targeted. And so it's important to note that CeeDee Lamb, there's like a big dichotomy between the rare CeeDee Lamb cards, like the rookie autos, and then that of like his base cards and his base prism cards. Like, check out this plain pattern. It actually has a little bit of stitching and color there on the left, but numbered out of 99, PSA 9, $222 in auction. That's why I think this may be the spark. There's the stub out of 88, rookie ticket auto, PSA 10. So CeeDee Lamb is, what are we at, number 7? So CeeDee Lamb is number 7. And if I had to go number 8, I'd go directly to the other side of the ball and look at Devonta Smith from a few weeks ago when Carter and I were talking about him as a favorite target of our play of the week. His rookie ticket autos were like $15 to $20. Has an absolute monster game here with Gardner Minshew. Balls out. You know, Gardner Minshew had a little spike, but with Jalen Hurts coming right back in next week, you know, it's not gonna last very long. But he made such a great case to be a starter somewhere. So absolutely would look for Gardner Minshew in the free agency draft time period to be picked up as a starter from some team. Like, honestly, the Broncos would be better off with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback than Russell Wilson at this point. And they fired Nathaniel Hackett. So we'll see what happens there in Denver. That was a big news story today. But let's see what happens. I mean, Gardner Minshew is better than a lot of other quarterbacks, and he'll air it out, man. And Devonta Smith balled the freak out, even though he did a very questionable touchdown celebration at one point where he pretended to rob the Salvation Army bucket, like knucklehead stuff. But overall, he's a really good athlete. I'm sure it was, I'm sure that was just a harmless celebration there, not really thinking about what he was doing or like the kind of message that was sending to all the kids and everything that look up to him. But, hey, he balled out with Gardner Minshew. Nonetheless, we talk about his performance on the field, and look at the spike as a result from Gardner Minshew. He goes from absolutely dirt cheap to now having a $30 trend on his base optic PSA 10 there. Dak Prescott, I'm going to call it my number 8. I think this was the actual spark that is going to start somewhat of an ascension from the Cowboys. We've got to definitely just, the Cowboys have just the largest market fan base, collector base in the country, next to teams like the Patriots and the Steelers and stuff. And so you got to recognize the fact that there has been a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths for Dak Prescott over the past couple of years, and he missed a good portion of this season with injury. But I'm looking at his card value market actually holding strong, some stuff actually trending upward, some stuff still garnering pretty big resale value and being readily sold. So I look at this as potentially the spark that could create an upward trend in his card market, because these are still down over the past 2 years. But $252 on his base Prism from 2016 PSA 10, which has a high gem rate too, by the way. Steelers get a narrow victory, man, but this was, they paid homage to the immaculate catch game back from the early 70s. Franco Harris retired his jersey. Rest in peace of Franco. George Pickens has just such a great chemistry with Kenny Pickett, who didn't really do much in this game until the very end. They did just enough to secure the win, 13-10, man, over the Raiders. They held the Steelers defense, just dominated the Raiders. Almost said Oakland. Dominated Las Vegas's offense. And Derek Carr may be the new Denver quarterback next year. Who knows? Or maybe he goes to the Panthers. I don't know. I know a lot of fans aren't happy with him right now. But the big takeaway is George Pickens, very hyped up rookie, man. Check out these Origins dual patch out of 49. Nice transactions. A lot of competition for his cards. So he's on my list towards the 10. I lost count at this point, guys. It's we're kind of winging it here, going through this last final games. AJ Dillon, important to monitor the injury status of Aaron Jones here, because AJ Dillon, if Aaron Jones misses, AJ Dillon's going to continue to get more opportunities, and this is a perfect kind of football weather time of the year where AJ Dillon really comes alive. He becomes really hard to tackle. He's a good receiver. We can see his stock starting to go back up. A lot of competition for his rookie autos. Some stuff pretty cheap still, but other stuff gets pretty pricey. Like, I'm just looking at like a silver prism rookie ticket auto for 46. That's not at the base floor, man. The floor for that card's like $20. So the fact that it goes up that much is pretty impressive. The LA Rams absolutely destroyed the Denver Broncos, and you can imagine the Broncos going to LA on Christmas to play the Rams in a game that was pretty much meaningless when you think about it, because Broncos already eliminated, the Rams eliminated from the playoffs, just absolutely Super Bowl hangover. Cam Akers, though, puts up 3 touchdowns, really leads this game in terms of offensive spotlight. So, yeah, Baker Mayfield getting some slow volume. I think he'll make a great clipboard holder for Matt Stafford. My initial reaction to that. Cam Akers, though, this performance is leading to some spikes for him in demand. So potential to actually sell him, because I'm kind of out on Cam Akers at this point. But there's definitely a lot of people that still potentially look at his base rookie ticket auto on card, $36, buy it now. So, and that was on Christmas, so definitely notable. Last but not least, the super frustrating Buccaneers offense. Gotta win. Jesus, dude. I mean, just should not have been this close. I mean, defense, yes, they did shut down third string quarterback Trace McSorley in the Arizona offense for the majority of the game, but there should have been so many more points scored on offense from the Buccaneers throughout this game. Just absolutely miscommunication, misfire, missed this, missed that. Oh, so frustrating to watch them on offense, but we squeaked out a win. Our playoff hopes are still alive, man, still alive in this game. Major takeaway, though, is like the decline of Mike Evans, but the ascension of Chris Godwin. He's become a clear favorite target for Brady, and I feel like he has a better quarterback rating when he targets Chris Godwin and Julio Jones than Mike Evans. So this is a really weird dichotomy that I think should level out at some point, but this has led to a really sharp decline, not only in Brady's market over the course of the season, but also Mike Evans. So looking for that to potentially buy into that dip. Can't ever rule them out. I get it. Right now, they look like they will not advance past the wild card round if they get in. But stranger things have happened, man. The wild card team has made it to the Super Bowl the past couple years. The Bucs were wild card in 2020. The Bengals were wild card last year. Let's see what happens this year as we head into Week 17. Stay tuned, guys. I gotta get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Peace.